My name is Pat O'Connor. I am the broker owner of the Veritas Real Estate Group. We're located in Coral Springs, Florida. Today I want to talk about flood insurance. We just went through Hurricane Ian earlier this past week, and word is a lot of those properties did not have flood insurance. So it's timely, it's sad, it's a message to people everywhere, particularly those that live in coastal areas. Requirements for the National Flood Insurance Program, which is maintained by FEMA. They produce flood maps that predict the likelihood of floods in a particular area. If you're on a canal, if you're on a river, a lake, the ocean, your risk is going to be higher and you're going to be on that flood map. So they have like different ratings for your risk, and if you're in the higher categories, the lenders, if you have a new mortgage, they will require that you have flood insurance. If you pay cash, you don't have to get it. If you pay off your mortgage, you don't have to get it. If flood zones are redrawn, you can request the lender to drop the requirement, but you may not want to. In Florida, it's statistics say that 18% roughly of Florida homes have this national insurance, flood insurance. They also say that in Orlando, parts of Orlando, that number could drop to less than 5%. It's possible that the cost of the premiums may increase now that there is such catastrophic damage over by Tampa, the west coast of Florida. But policies in Florida typically cost about $1,000 a year. That's for the national insurance. Coverage, it includes the building. That would mean your foundation, the structure, the heating and cooling systems, electrical plumbing systems, and your major appliances like washer and dryer. It may not cover the cost to rebuild, and the federal maximum amount is $250,000. For your contents, the national flood insurance will go up to $100,000, and these are two separate insurance coverages to click off. I am assuming the lenders only require the building coverage. I believe in the federal that if you have assets like artwork, that is limited to $25,000. The rest of that personal stuff, would be your carpeting and perhaps money that you had stored in the house that you could prove that floated away. That part I'm not sure of. If you have an expensive home, that's more than $250,000, you might want to consider supplementing that with private insurance. There are some private insurance companies around. They may be expensive, but if you have a $500,000 home now, particularly these ocean homes usually aren't cheap. Your homeowner's insurance policy doesn't cover them unless you have chosen. Some of the carriers may offer flood insurance as optional. But otherwise, if you've chosen not to have it and you paid in cash or your mortgage is paid off, you have $1 million property, you could lose $750,000. because FEMA will only cover up to 250. Now, it's possible that the state may bring in additional emergency funds to help individuals rebuild. I don't know. Typical flood insurance policies don't cover relocation costs while you're rebuilding. Again, your homeowner hazard insurance policy, the standard policy, does not cover flooding unless it's a pipe that broke inside and you have a plumbing flood. Hurricanes aren't plumbing floods. Hurricanes are rain and storm surge. Premiums, the amount of the premium reflects how far you are away from the body of water. Ocean proximity is likely a higher premium than a river proximity because the hurricanes come over the oceans in storm surge, and the warm ocean waters makes for ferocious hurricanes nowadays. Elevation, as well, how far above sea level is the property. Here in Florida, a lot of us are at sea level. The land here in South Florida is usually pretty flat. So, future predictions: warmer climate, the oceans are warmer. I'm a scuba diver. I can tell you, I went out last weekend in Florida Keys and it was 87 degrees Fahrenheit. So the oceans are warming up, the icebergs are melting, the sea levels are rising. So this is an increased possibility for flooding even without a storm. Again, here in South Florida, we get a full moon. I think they call it a king moon or a queen moon when it's like full and close to the earth. Ocean, the ocean roads, the ones that go by, the beaches, they flood. And they can be impassable for a while. And that's without a storm. That's just the rising sea levels and a full moon. So the storms are becoming more severe. We just had a 4 that may end up being called a 5. That hit the west coast of Florida. There's another dangerous 4 that's supposed to hit, Mexico. It's coming in from the Pacific. It's supposed to hit Mexico either today or tomorrow, I think. So storms may increase in severity. More rain equals more flooding. So even if you are inland or away from bodies of water, there's only so much moisture the land can absorb. And it has to go somewhere. And if that is just gonna pile up. I mean, even without storm surge, which can be terrible if you watch the videos from Ian, how quickly it comes in, how high it can go. But just as the levels rise, you're in a 2-story, the first floor can get filled with water, cars can float. So the warning is, if you live on the coast, definitely you're going to have more flooding as the years go by and sea level rises. And even if you're inland, the more severe storms, can cause the increased rain, and you may not be anywhere near a river or the ocean, and you can flood. So look at your policies, see what your limits are, see if you may want to get private flood insurance, and check around. There's flood insurance brokers, and they could help you find a company with the best rates for whatever state you happen to be in. Okay, this is a bittersweet video, but I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.